welcome. It's great to see you here. We have some very special friends and guests with us today, starting with my friend Governor Sununu and my new friend Jess Edwards, Representative Edwards from Auburn. And finally, the guest of honor, Charlie. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. That's Charlie Olsen, and his parents are here today, and his sister. Let's see. Before, I'm supposed to say something about the importance of the rule of law. The rule of law is very important. And that's the business of the judicial branch, and I'll talk a little bit more about the judicial branch in a few moments. But I'd like now to invite Connor Molen to come forward and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And before he gets started, I'm reminded to acknowledge that the Secretary of State's office, Bill Gardner, has issued a certificate, an official certificate of the vote tally in this case. Come on ahead, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Connor. And I'm directed now to introduce Martha Madsen to talk about the New Hampshire Kids Governor Program. I've been learning a lot about it. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. My name is Martha Madsen. I'm the director of the New Hampshire Institute for Civics Education, and we have partnered with St. Anselm's New Hampshire Institute of Politics to bring this program, New Hampshire Kid Governor, to the state. This is now the third year. So I'm so thankful to everyone. This is completely a team effort here. Everyone has just lent a hand, and everyone has made this possible in this really challenging time. So thank you for everyone for your help and for being here. Even though we are physically distanced, we still need to continue to teach our children about citizenship. So we're here, we're civically connected, even though we're physically distanced from each other. I just want to let people know that this is just one day in a year-long program. 1,000 fifth graders, over 1,000 fifth graders participated this year. And I'm really proud that classes were represented in all 10 counties. So it is spreading, even though, we had all these obstacles this year with the pandemic. So I'm really pleased with that, and that's really due to Luann Janess and her leadership on this. So it's a curriculum. It's a 6-week curriculum for fifth graders, and they learn about the 3 branches of government. It's a review from 4th grade, hopefully. But they also learn about the history of voting rights in New Hampshire. They learn about leadership skills and what good leadership looks like. They learn about community issues, and they have research. They learn research skills. They learn public speaking skills. They learn about campaigns and elections. So in short, it teaches the knowledge, skills, and attitudes required for active, engaged, positive citizenship. So I just want to give that's a little explanation of the program. So although we have, hundreds of kids at these events, but we're confident that we'll still reach many kids and many students and teachers and others throughout the state, because we are going to be creating a video that includes this ceremony. But in addition, we'll have the farewell speech by Susie Brand, who's the 2020 Kid Governor, and First Lady Valerie Sununu, who's a wonderful supporter of this program, is going to be adding a reading of a poem and a statement of support for Charlie, which is pretty exciting. And Grace Perkins, I believe her name is, in 4th grade at the Grace Perkins of Auburn Village School in the 4th grade, has contributed to vocal performance. So we'll be adding all those in, and then we'll be putting them on the website, the New Hampshire Kid Governor website and nhcivics.org website, so that everyone can see them. See it all put together like a final package. So I am a teacher. My parents were teachers, so I have to give you a little lesson. Even though you probably already know this, I'm speaking to the 5th graders. So as you learned in 4th grade and reviewed this past fall, our state government is made up of 3 branches. Each branch serves a different purpose, and the branches check and balance one another so that no one branch has too much power. This structure is put forth in our New Hampshire Constitution. This June, this Constitution will be 237 years old, and we still refer to it frequently. And the oath of office that you will hear Justice Hicks read for Charlie is adapted from this New Hampshire Constitution oath. So today we'll experience firsthand the 3 branches of government, and we're very thankful to very special guests. We're honored to hear from Honorable Justice Gary Hick, who welcomed us just before I spoke. He's a New Hampshire Supreme Court Justice. And second, we will hear from Representative Jess Edwards, who is here to represent the legislative branch. And finally, our governor, the Honorable Christopher Sununu, will speak about his role as the head of the executive branch in our state. So we'll hear briefly from each of them. So Justice Hicks, would you mind starting us off?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
And the operative phrase, at least for me, will be brief. I have the privilege of belonging to the judicial branch, which is actually in the Constitution, it's the 3rd branch mentioned. And that doesn't mean that the executive and the legislative branches are more important, it's just we're 3rd. So today I'm happy to go first. The judicial branch is bound by the Constitution and our oath to uphold the law and the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Hampshire. We have 3 different levels of court. We have the Circuit Court, which is our retail branch, if you will. We have the Superior Court, which has jury trials, and then there's us. Most states have an intermediate court, but we are the final arbiter of every case that gets here, and sometimes we're the final arbiter of some laws that are written. And many times we make a call and we wonder if we've interpreted the statute correctly, and if we haven't, we invite the legislature to weigh in. So to that extent, there's a great deal of cooperation between the branches, even though separation is important. The judges are appointed by a governor and approved by an executive council. We serve until age 70, and it's indeed an honor to serve the state of New Hampshire at this level and at this capacity. Now with that, I would like to suggest that Representative Jess Edwards come up and describe his branch of government.
I'm a little nervous describing the role of the legislature with the justice and the teacher in the room. But I would say that the legislature, along with the governor, represent the preeminent role in our state government because we are directly elected by the people. And so we are the direct representatives of the people and represent, ideally, the consent of the governed. And so it's a pretty important role, and it's one that I think we share with the governor, the seriousness of our being accountable to the people. And with that, am I supposed to read this now? Is this my whole thing? Who's running this?
You can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay, so I will say I'm really glad to be here in the presence of the Olsen family and Mr. Charlie Olsen, our governor, Justice Hicks. It's a great honor. I'm also a unit commissioner in Auburn and for Troop 127, the Boy Scouts. I hope, Charlie, you take a look at the Boy Scouts. I think you'd be a great addition. I can see Eagle Scout written all over you. I can also see that you may be eligible to run for my seat in 2028. So just take your time. And I've been allowed to stand in for Senator Sharon Carson, who represents Londonderry and Auburn, and she put together a certificate. I'll read. If you could come up, I'll present it to you.
Okay.
All right? All right. Let's stay 6 feet apart. Okay, we're good. The New Hampshire Senate. A resolution. Be it known that the New Hampshire Senate extends its congratulations to Charlie Olsen of the Auburn Village School in recognition of his election as New Hampshire Kid Governor for 2021. And be it further known that the New Hampshire Senate extends its best wishes for continued success. Signed, Sharon M. Carson, Senator from District 14. So I present that to you, sir. It's suitable for framing. And the legislature, the House is a little slow, but we do get things done. Ms. Virginia Drew has committed to flying a state flag over the state capitol today, and we're going to present that to you later. Okay? Thank you. And I guess I bring you up now, Governor. I'm not reading a script here, but
okay.
So why don't you take over, sir?
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. We are 6 feet apart, so just so folks can understand me a little better that are watching on Zoom. It is really an honor, an absolute honor to be here, and Justice Hicks cannot thank you enough. For those who don't know, for the first couple of years that we did this program, we were able to be in the State House, but the State House has limited access to the public, so we are very grateful for Justice Hicks for allowing us to come over to his place to do the ceremony, which is very appropriate, and obviously to Representative Jess Edwards, who has done a phenomenal job in the legislature, Jess, and has always been right on top of what we talk about when we talk about civics, when we talk about engagement. We have 400 members in our legislature. It is so unique. This program is taking off. The Kid Governor program is taking off across the country. We have a lot of pride that we are one of the first states here in New Hampshire to really not just promote it and talk about it to make it happen, but because our system is so unique. We all have the 3 branches, the legislative, the judicial, and the executive branch, but ours is just a little different because there's so much community engagement. There's so much engagement from towns and at a local level, and the citizens of the state just have so much say, and frankly, so much more than they would in other states, just because the representation is so big. 400 members in our legislature. That's one of the largest parliamentary bodies on the planet, in the known universe, if you want to consider it that way. And that really gives, for only representing about 1.4 million people, that gives it a tremendous amount of opportunity for people, for citizens, for students, for whoever, for parents, for teachers. Whatever the issue might be, to have such a strong voice, it's just so important in the process. And it keeps everybody accountable. It's a really, really great system when we talk about checks and balances between the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch. There's also a wonderful checks and balance system between the citizens of the state and those that they elect to represent them. Now, Charlie, congratulations. Very, very exciting. I want to make one more point before we bring you up. Are we bringing Charlie up after this? Yeah, before we bring you up, Charlie. And then we'll do the swearing in with Justice Hicks. You know, this is a great program. I want folks to know that what we're doing today in terms of the swearing in, it's not just ceremonial. It's not just, as was mentioned, it's not just one day. It really is an all-year event. And I can tell you, I saw just a couple of the videos, and I got some summaries of some of the different, what the kids had sent in, so that, you know, various kids from all across the state. Unfortunately, we only are able to swear in one kid governor per year. And as Representative Edwards mentioned, I think I guess you could run for office in 2028. I guess if you can run for his office, you can run for mine, so take your time. It's a great point. But there is opportunity for everyone. But I want to say this. What I saw, and Charlie, you're going to talk a little bit about what your priorities and what your...
Yes.
So what Charlie's going to talk about, what his mission is, what some of the key issues that he wants to take on, I think you are spot on. And in about 2 weeks, I'm going to be presenting a budget to the state of New Hampshire. Every 2 years, I have to present a budget. And just before this, we came in to do this, we were looking at what you had proposed, and we're going to be putting some things in our budget that directly talk about the opportunities for kids. Because I think you are spot on. It's been a very tough year. The fact that we have to go remote, the fact that kids are under a lot of stress, they're under a lot of strains, things are very different with remote learning, a lack of other activities out there, and Charlie's mission is really to take a lot of that stuff right head on, and we're going to be putting money in our budget to follow exactly your plan. So we cannot thank you enough. This isn't just ceremonial. What Charlie's put forth is something that we are going to really try to make happen for the state of New Hampshire. So can't thank you enough, and can't thank all the kids enough who participated this year in the program. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
After Governor Sununu, it says Justice Hicks invites Charlie Olsen up to the stage. Charlie will bring his own Bible. Mom's usually in charge of Bibles. I had the privilege of administering the oath to Governor Sununu last week, and he brought his own Bible.
Yes.
By the way, you can catch it on YouTube if you want.
We will.
The governor and I are thinking about going on the road with these shows. All right, Charlie, I would be remiss if I didn't say one more thing that I think probably doesn't need to be said, but there is one other thing that is unique about New Hampshire. And even though we have 3 branches of government that are separate and sometimes are at odds, the way we work together is in New Hampshire we cherish civility and respect for everything and everyone. And you've seen that here today from the governor, from Jess, the representative, and you see it, hopefully you'll see it from me. We generally do, this is not an act. We respect each other and we engage civilly, not uncivilly. So do me a favor and raise your right hand. Listen carefully to the oath of office, and at the conclusion of the oath, say, I do. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of New Hampshire's Kid Governor to the best of your abilities, and that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Hampshire, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations, young man. You're going to be great.
Thank you.
And I have for you, as I gave the governor the other day, I have a sample oath for you. Mom, do you want to maybe take charge of that? All right.
Thank you. Executive Councilors, and Charlie will swear them in. So we have Grace Molen of Beaver Meadow Elementary School, Merrick Allen of St. Bonnie School in Sanborn, Olivia Triani of Parlett Elementary School, Shayla Walsh of Sunapee Central Elementary School in Sunapee, Matthew Belanger of Unity Elementary School in Newport, and Bree Bell of James Faulkner Elementary School in Stoddard. The Executive Council will work together with Charlie to support each other's platforms. So Charlie, are you ready?
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office of New Hampshire's Kid Governor, Executive Council to the best of your abilities, and that you'll support and defend the constitutions of the United States and the state of New Hampshire? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you, everyone, and you're all going to get to see Charlie next week when you have your first Executive Council meeting. At this time, we welcome New Hampshire's 2021 Kid Governor, Charlie Olsen, to deliver his inauguration speech.
Thank you. For everyone that might be watching this remotely, over Zoom, or watching the recording, I want to thank you for taking time to be part of this inauguration. I especially want to thank Governor Sununu, Justice Hicks, Representative Edwards, members of the State House and State Senate, Luann Gaines, the New Hampshire Kid Governor Coordinator, Martha Madsen, the Executive Director at New Hampshire's Institute for Civic Education, to all of my supporters, friends, and voters that took part in the Kid Governor election, to each of the other candidates for Kid Governor, Merrick and his issue of climate change, Olivia and equity, Bree and how expensive sports are, Matthew and hunger, Shayla and littering, and Grace and helping the homeless. To my friend Connor, who has helped me get through my depression, to my mom and dad, and to my sister Lila. Thank you for supporting me and giving me this opportunity. I am truly humbled and honored to serve as the next Kid Governor of the state of New Hampshire. My name is Charlie Olsen. I live in Auburn, New Hampshire, and I love my town. I love our great state of New Hampshire, and I am honored to represent the fifth graders of the state. I am so fortunate to have such an amazing team of teachers and administrators at Auburn Village School. Mrs. Cohen, my homeroom teacher, you changed my life by bringing me into your classroom. Mrs. Kaiser, my social studies teacher, this challenge gave me a voice to speak up and help kids that are struggling with depression, and I am so grateful. Dr. Collins, my principal, you've supported me every step of the way, and I am very thankful. I am so excited to be the next New Hampshire Kid Governor, but the reason I ran is because I want to help kids who may be suffering from depression. I'd like to begin with the definition of a word. It's important that we understand what a stigma is. A stigma is a mark of disgrace related to a circumstance or a person. Many times, people who suffer from depression feel a bit of disgrace. You may fall and skin your knee, and you're not afraid to tell your teacher that your knee hurts, but you're seriously depressed and sad and suffering mentally, and you avoid to talk about your depression because of the stigma. I'm a straight-A student. I play several sports like soccer, baseball, golf, skiing, and triathlons. I have a loving, supporting family and two sweet golden retrievers, Hank and Spunky Lola. I have an adorable sister. She made me put that in. My mom has stayed home to take care of me and my sister. I have tons of friends at school and beyond. My parents always said that I was the happiest person they ever met. Lou Gehrig said in his famous speech, "I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Some would say that I have the perfect life. But at mid-March, all of that changed. My world and the rest of the world's lives changed in a big way. We began the COVID lockdowns, and we were separated and isolated from our friends. My perfect life didn't seem so perfect to me anymore, and I struggled with loneliness and fear that came with the quarantine orders. My doctor diagnosed me with situational depression. You might be wondering what depression feels like. When my mom would tuck me in at night, I would cry myself to sleep. I couldn't eat because I constantly had stomach aches from mind-body connections. I was constantly stressed about and worried about everything, including what school would look like next year and what COVID would be like. My joints ached for no physical reason. There is hope. If we can help kids understand what depression feels like, they can talk to a trusted adult, a counselor or a coach who can help them, or maybe they can even talk to a friend if they are feeling down. I want kids to know that they don't have to do this alone. Before the pandemic, approximately 44,000 kids were diagnosed with depression in New Hampshire. This number does not include the kids that have been undiagnosed. During the pandemic, children and adults have been struggling, and this number has gotten so much bigger this year. I want you to know that if you're feeling sad or depressed, you don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. Kids have been isolated from their friends. Kids are social beings. We need to spend time with our friends. Kids are still learning how the world works every day, and we're not meant to be stuck in a Zoom in a virtual world. During the pandemic, kids have not been able to see their friends face to face or hang out with each other. For a 10-year-old to go 1 year without seeing their friends, that's 10% of their life. Imagine a 50-year-old not being able to see their friends for 5 years. I want to bring kids together to know that they have the support that they need. They are isolated and they can't talk to their friends how they're feeling and their emotions. I plan to host and create public service announcements on TV and let kids know that they don't have to be ashamed of how they're feeling. The first 3 or 4 months of the lockdown were the hardest for me and my best friend Connor. We weren't used to being apart, and we both struggled getting through it alone. But when our moms decided to make a quarantine, we got to be together in person and play and talk to each other. Having a friend to talk to about how you're feeling made the biggest difference, and I know it will work for other kids too. By creating mentoring and buddy programs, we can help kids have someone to talk to and to recover from depression. I plan to create mentoring programs for kids by connecting remotely in classrooms around the state, along with mental health professionals to discuss the issue of depression. With the help of a school counselor on the other end of the virtual meeting, I want to talk to fifth graders about what it feels like to be depressed and let kids know they shouldn't be afraid to talk about their depression and they don't have to do this alone. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. If you understand why you aren't feeling quite like yourself, you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. If you're feeling sad and lonely, you don't have to do this alone. If you're suddenly feeling physical pain for unknown reasons, you don't have to do this alone. If you feel like you're the only person that is struggling, you don't have to do this alone. If you feel like things are hopeless, you don't have to do this alone. So, if you are watching this inauguration and you're feeling the way I felt during this pandemic, I want you to know that you are not alone. We can make the world a better place for kids. We can live happier lives and eliminate the stigma associated with mental health and childhood depression. So much better last time. Our future is a world we get to create together. Join me in making New Hampshire a place that is free of stigma associated with childhood depression. Thank you. Thank you.
My program says Mark.
Thank you, Charlie, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Really wonderful. So, as I said before, we're just so thankful to Charlie, his family. Actually, I'm so thankful to Mr. Olsen because he's helped us with this technology. We could not have done this without him. There are so many people that we just couldn't have done this without, and we can't, we need to continue the team. I want to thank Luann Jess, who has just nurtured the teachers. She's held their hands and, provided them with remote versions of the lessons, in touch with them all the time, very supportive of the children and the executive council and the governor over the years. And as I said, it's tripled its impact under her leadership. I'd also like to thank our partner, the New Hampshire Institute of Politics at St. Anselm, Ryan Heath, who is handling the Zoom meeting right now. He's an intern at St. A's. Neil Levesque, who has always been a supporter, and Ann Kamen are key people. I want to thank Virginia Drew, who has just been amazing, amazing support to us as she understands the workings of government, how the State House works and how the courthouse works. And I'd like to thank Lisa Merrill, too, and Justice Hicks and Governor Sununu, and I love Representative Jess Edwards. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming together and making this happen. I also want to thank our sponsors. We have some financial support from Grapponi Automotive, from New Hampshire NEA, and from the Teachers Union in Nashua. And there's a very important advisory board who spent hours and hours watching all of these campaign videos and helping us to select the top 7. So thanks to them. I want to say a special thank you to teachers who have had a particularly tough challenge over the past year or so, and thank them for taking this on, even though they were dealing with so many other things, and thank them for keeping kids safe and secure and learning during this time, and connected to each other, which is just so very important. And I want to thank all the young people who were brave enough to stand up and say something. It takes a lot of courage to do that. And so thanks to the young people. We really need to hear your voices, and we need your light in this world right now. So anyway, thanks to everyone for their participation and their help. And we will hopefully be doing this next year too. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Charlie, there have been a lot of great events in this courtroom. None finer than your speech. You're welcome. And it appears to me that you can take the day off.
Oh, can I? All right, Charlie, we'll see you at the State House in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, he works hard. And I was thinking that both the governor and Representative Edwards said that you'd have to wait some time to take their position. I've got an opening for a law clerk next summer. Well, thank you all for being here. It's been a great day at the court and a great honor to have you all here and a great privilege to honor a great young man. Take care, you all.
Thank you.